The old farmer trick. Growing better crops without tilling. For the soil science garden. If you've spent any time around experienced growers, you've probably heard an old farmer say, "The less you disturb the soil, the better it grows." For generations, tilling was considered essential. Turn the soil, break it up, make it loose, that was the rule. But here's the truth many old farmers quietly practiced. The healthiest fields often came from leaving the soil alone. Welcome back to the Soil Science Garden, where we don't just grow plants, we grow living soil. Today we're diving into one of the most powerful, low-effort, science-backed techniques you can use: no-till gardening. This isn't a trend. It's an old farmer's trick that modern soil science now confirms. When you stop tilling, you protect soil life, improve structure, retain moisture, reduce weeds, and grow stronger, more resilient crops. If you've ever struggled with hard soil, poor yields, constant watering, or endless weeds, this method could change everything. Let's dig into why no-till works and how you can start using it right away. At first glance, tilling feels helpful. The soil looks fluffy and easy to plant in. But beneath the surface, something important is happening. Soil isn't just dirt. It's a living ecosystem made up of fungi, bacteria, earthworms, and microscopic organisms that work together to feed your plants. These organisms build soil structure by forming aggregates, tiny clumps that create air pockets, drainage channels, and pathways for roots. When you till, you break apart this structure. You expose organic matter to rapid oxidation, which burns off valuable carbon. You destroy fungal networks that help plants access nutrients and water. You also bring buried weed seeds to the surface, where they quickly sprout. In the short term, the soil looks loose. In the long term, it becomes compacted, lifeless, and dependent on constant disturbance. Old farmers noticed something: simple fields that were left undisturbed stayed fertile longer. The no-till approach is based on a simple principle. Feed the soil, don't fight it. When soil is left undisturbed, earthworms tunnel through it, creating natural aeration. Fungi form underground networks that transport nutrients. Organic matter slowly breaks down at the surface, feeding microbes that improve soil structure from the inside out. Instead of forcing the soil to be loose, you allow biology to create a stable, crumbly structure that lasts season after season. Over time, no-till soil becomes darker, softer, and easier to work, even without turning it. This is the old farmer's trick. Patience replaces labor. The beauty of no-till is that you don't need special tools or expensive inputs. You just need a shift in approach. The first step is simple. Stop turning the soil. If your bed is already established, resist the urge to dig or rototill before planting. Instead, clear the surface of large weeds and add a layer of organic matter such as compost, aged manure, or leaf mold. Spread it evenly across the bed, about 1 to 2 inches thick. When it's time to plant, open only the space you need. Use a trowel or your hands to create a small hole for transplants, or pull back the surface layer slightly to sow seeds. That's it. The soil beneath stays intact, and the new organic layer feeds the life below. If you're starting a new bed on grass or compacted ground, the old farmer's method is even simpler. Lay down cardboard or thick newspaper to block weeds, soak it well, and cover it with compost and mulch. Within a few months, soil organisms will break everything down and create a rich planting layer. No digging required. Mulch is, well, really the backbone of a successful no-till garden. In nature, soil is never left bare. Leaves fall, plants die back, and all sorts of organic material end up covering the ground. This protective layer, it regulates temperature, reduces evaporation, suppresses weeds, and, as it breaks down, feeds soil life. In your own garden, mulch plays the same important role. After planting, just cover the soil with straw, shredded leaves, wood chips, or even dried grass clippings. You want to keep the layer thick enough to block sunlight from reaching weed seeds, but not so heavy that your seedlings have trouble coming up. Over time, this surface layer breaks down and becomes part of the soil, increasing organic matter and improving structure, without any digging at all. Many gardeners notice that after 1 or 2 seasons of consistent mulching, their soil gets a whole lot softer and easier to plant in. One of the biggest benefits of no-till, honestly, is improved moisture retention. When soil structure is kept intact and organic matter is high, it acts like a sponge. Water soaks in quickly and stays available to roots for longer. The mulch layer also reduces evaporation, keeping the soil cool and damp, even when the weather turns hot. Folks who switch to no-till often find they don't have to water as often. Plants experience less stress, roots grow deeper, and, well, yields become more consistent. This is especially valuable if you're gardening in a dry climate or just want to conserve water. Now, weeds. They thrive on disturbance. Every time you till, you bring buried seeds up to the surface, where light and oxygen trigger them to sprout. No-till breaks this cycle. By leaving the soil undisturbed and keeping it covered with mulch, you prevent most weed seeds from sprouting. The few that do show up are easier to pull, since the soil stays loose and well-structured. Over time, weed pressure drops dramatically. Many old farmers relied on this method, not because it was trendy, but because it reduced labor, season after season. Stronger roots make for healthier plants, you know. When your soil structure is nice and stable, roots can move freely through those natural channels left behind by earthworms and old root systems. Instead of just growing shallow and spreading out sideways, plants start sending their roots deeper, searching for water and nutrients. And well, deeper roots mean stronger plants that can handle heat, drought, and all those ups and downs with nutrients. They don't need you to water or fertilize as often either. There's another hidden benefit too, coming from mycorrhizal fungi. These helpful fungi form partnerships with plant roots, stretching their reach and making it easier for them to take up nutrients. Tilling, though, breaks up those networks. No-till lets them thrive. This underground partnership is one of the big reasons no-till gardens tend to grow healthier, more resilient crops. Feeding the soil instead of just fertilizing the plants, that's the idea. In a no-till system, you shift your focus from giving plants a quick meal to feeding the whole soil ecosystem. Every season, just add a fresh layer of compost or organic material right on the surface. Then let the microbes, worms, and fungi do their job breaking it down, nice and natural. The nutrients get released slowly and in balance, so you're less likely to have too little or too much. If you want to take it a step further, you can plant cover crops during the off-season. When you cut them down and leave them on top, they add organic matter and protect the soil, no digging needed. This steady input of organic material builds up long-term fertility instead of just relying on quick fixes. So, what should you expect in that first year? Well, if your soil's been tilled for years, don't expect a miracle right away. The first season might only bring modest improvements, but the real changes come with time. You might spot more earthworms, see the soil surface start to darken, and notice water soaking in more easily. Plants could grow more evenly, and you'll likely see fewer signs of stress. By the second or third year, though, the difference is pretty dramatic. The beds hold moisture longer, weeds start to decline, and the soil gets that rich, crumbly texture every gardener dreams about. No-till rewards consistency and patience. Like the old farmers always said, soil health is built season by season. Now let's talk about some common mistakes to avoid. The biggest one is leaving your soil bare. Without mulch or some kind of organic cover, the surface can crust over, dry out, and lose its biological activity. Another mistake is not adding enough organic matter. No-till works best when you feed the soil from the top, and you do it regularly. Some folks also give up too soon. If things seem slow, just remember, you're rebuilding a living ecosystem. Real improvement takes time, but the benefits last for years. And finally, try not to step on your beds. Compaction is one of the few things that can really slow down progress in a no-till system, so use designated paths whenever you can. Why does this method work just about everywhere? Well, whether you're growing vegetables in raised beds, tending a backyard garden, or even working with native soil, the no-till approach can adapt to almost any situation. In sandy soils, it helps increase organic matter and water retention. In clay soils, it improves structure and drainage. In established gardens, it cuts down on the labor. And in new spaces, it builds fertility right from the ground up. That's why this technique has stuck around through the generations. It works with nature, not against it. Old farmers didn't call it soil biology or carbon sequestration. They just knew that healthy soil grows healthy crops. And today, science backs up what their experience taught them. Now, here's the long-term payoff. After a few seasons of no-till gardening, a lot of folks notice something they didn't expect. The garden gets easier every year. There's less digging, less watering, fewer weeds, and just fewer problems in general. The soil becomes darker, richer, and more alive. Plants grow stronger with less help from you. That's really the goal of the soil science garden, building a system that keeps improving itself over time. Instead of working harder every season, you set things up so nature does most of the heavy lifting. And if there's one thing to remember from this old farmer's trick, it's this. Soil health is about protection, not disturbance. Keep it covered, feed it regularly, avoid unnecessary digging, and let biology rebuild the structure from the inside out. It's a simple method, but it changes the way you think about gardening. You stop fighting the soil and start working with it. And once you see the results, healthier plants, better yields, and less work, you'll understand why so many experienced growers never go back to tilling. Grow soil, grow success. Gardening isn't just about what you see above ground. The real magic is happening below the surface, where millions of tiny organisms are working every day to support your plants. The old farmers trusted that process, and now you can too. If you found this guide helpful and you're looking for more practical science-based ways to build living soil, go ahead and subscribe to the Soil Science Garden. Share this with a fellow gardener who's tired of digging and ready to work smarter, not harder. Let's keep growing healthier soil and better gardens together.